Have you ever had a moment, quiet, almost unnoticeable, where you suddenly feel like something in you has shifted? Not a breakdown, not a breakthrough, something softer, something subtle, something that whispers rather than shouts. It's that strange sensation that your inner world is rearranging itself, that old pieces of you are gently falling away, that new parts of you are quietly waking up. You can't explain it. You can't point to a single event. There was no grand announcement, no dramatic transformation. But still, you feel it deep in your chest, in the way you think, in the way you respond, in the way you walk through the world now. It's like life has slowed just enough for you to notice the signs you used to miss, the signs that your spirit has been trying to send you for years, the signs that you are finally becoming the person you were meant to be all along. If that quiet shift has been echoing inside you, then these 10 signs will feel familiar, maybe too familiar. Let's begin. The first sign is you feel a quiet shift inside. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shake your world from the outside. It moves silently, from within. It's that subtle inner nudge, that gentle tug in your chest, that unexplainable awareness that something about you is changing. You can't name it clearly, but you can feel it. It's almost like your soul is whispering, "Pay attention. Something is different now." You start noticing it in the small things, the way you pause before reacting, the way you breathe before speaking, the way certain thoughts don't hit you the way they used to, the way your old triggers don't pull you in as strongly. It's a shift so quiet that if you weren't becoming more aware, you might ignore it completely. But it's there, steady, persistent, unmistakable. This first sign is powerful because it tells you that your growth began long before you consciously realized it. Your inner world started rearranging itself, your values, your priorities, your boundaries, all subtly shifting into alignment with who you're meant to become. It doesn't feel like a transformation. It feels like remembering something you lost, or maybe something you've never fully met until now. And deep down, even if you can't articulate it, you know this change isn't random. It's intentional. It's yours. And it's only the beginning. The second sign is you're losing interest in what no longer serves you. This shift is quieter than people expect. It doesn't look like drama or anger or sudden explosions of clarity. It looks like detachment, a gentle release, a quiet unhooking from things you used to cling to without question. You start noticing that the things you once tolerated now feel unbearably heavy. Conversations that used to entertain you now feel shallow. Old routines feel like they're draining your energy instead of fueling you. People who once had access to you suddenly feel distant, and not because they changed, but because you did. You stop forcing yourself into spaces where your spirit feels small. You stop pretending to enjoy things just to keep the peace. You stop saying yes out of habit or guilt or fear of disappointing someone. It's not a rejection of others. It's a reconnection with yourself. You might notice you no longer feel the need to explain your boundaries. You don't chase people who consistently leave you empty. You lose interest in gossip, negativity, and things that don't align with who you're becoming. You crave depth, honesty, stillness, and meaning, things you used to overlook. This sign is powerful because it shows that you're no longer fueled by old wounds, old fears, or old versions of yourself. You're choosing alignment over attachment. You're choosing authenticity over approval. You're choosing energy over ego. And the most revealing part? It doesn't feel forced. It feels natural, effortless. almost like your soul is cleaning house on its own. That's when you know you're not losing interest. You're evolving, and the things that fall away are simply the things that can't come with you to the next version of your life. The third sign is you're becoming more honest with yourself. This one feels different because it doesn't start with honesty toward others. It starts with honesty toward you. And that kind of honesty is the most uncomfortable and the most liberating. You begin to notice the little truths you used to avoid, the ones you buried under distractions, excuses, or expectations. Suddenly, you can't run from them anymore, not because they became louder, but because you finally became quiet enough to hear them. You start admitting things like, "I'm not happy here. This doesn't feel right anymore. I'm pretending too much. I deserve better than this. I've outgrown this version of my life." These realizations don't always feel good. They can feel heavy, raw, even inconvenient. But they're real, and they're yours. You're becoming more aware of your patterns, your coping mechanisms, your emotional truths, your needs, your boundaries, your desires, your wounds, your potential. This is the stage where you stop gaslighting yourself into staying small. You stop telling yourself stories meant to keep you comfortable instead of authentic. You stop pretending that things don't hurt when they do, or that you're fine when your soul is exhausted. And the most powerful part? You start taking responsibility, not blame, not shame, but responsibility for who you are becoming. This honesty feels like standing in front of your own reflection without filters, without masks, without excuses. And instead of looking away, you finally hold your own gaze because you're no longer running from yourself. You're meeting yourself, fully, perhaps for the first time. That is the third sign. And it's one of the strongest indicators that your transformation is real, deep, and irreversible. The fourth sign is you start valuing your energy more than approval. This is the moment your life quietly begins to change, not because the world treats you differently, but because you treat yourself differently. You start realizing that your energy, your peace, your time, your emotional capacity isn't something you can casually hand out anymore. You used to stretch yourself thin just to keep the peace. You used to say yes, even when every part of you whispered, "Please say no." You used to over-explain, over-apologize, and over-give, because you were afraid of disappointing others. But now, something in you has shifted. You pause before committing. You notice how certain people make you feel. You choose rest over performing. You choose boundaries over guilt. You choose yourself, quietly, calmly, unapologetically. You stop bending into shapes that don't belong to you. You stop chasing the approval of people who never truly saw you. You stop giving access to those who drain you more than they nourish you. And the best part? You don't feel bad about it anymore. This sign isn't loud. It doesn't come with dramatic declarations or angry goodbyes. It comes with peace. A deep, grounding peace that comes from finally understanding that your energy is not infinite. It is sacred. You begin protecting it like something precious. Because now you know it is. You realize that the version of you who needed everyone's approval was a version of you who didn't yet know your worth. But now, you do. You're not becoming selfish. You're becoming selective. You're not shutting people out. You're shutting chaos out. You're not choosing isolation. You're choosing alignment. And that shift, that quiet, firm reclaiming of your energy is one of the clearest signs that you're finally stepping into the person you were meant to be. The fifth sign is you feel more connected to your intuition. This one feels almost supernatural. Not in a mystical way, but in a deeply familiar way, like remembering a language you forgot you could speak. Your intuition, the quiet voice you used to ignore, silence, or doubt, begins to grow louder, clearer, more reliable than the noise around you. You start sensing things before you can logically explain them. You feel the difference between right for now and right for you. You can tell when someone's energy doesn't match their words. You can feel when a situation is draining you, even if it looks perfect on the outside. Your intuition becomes a compass, one that pulls you toward what aligns and gently pushes you away from what doesn't. And the most interesting part? You stop fighting it. You stop asking for proof every time your gut speaks. You stop dismissing your feelings as overreacting. You stop letting other people's opinions override your inner knowing. Instead, you begin to trust your first instinct, the small whisper that says, "This isn't for you," or "Something better is coming," or "You already know the answer." Because deep down, you do. You start noticing. You no longer need to overthink every decision. You don't cling to situations that feel wrong, even if they look right. You can sense when someone's intentions aren't genuine. You're more in tune with what your soul needs, not just what your mind wants. This connection to your intuition feels like stepping into a deeper relationship with yourself. A version of you that sees more, feels more, understands more, without having to explain any of it. It's not about predicting the future. It's about recognizing your truth. And once you start trusting that inner voice, you realize it had been guiding you all along. You just finally became quiet enough, strong enough, and aligned enough to hear it. The sixth sign is, you're no longer afraid of being alone. This is one of the most powerful shifts, and one of the clearest indicators that you're growing into the person you were meant to become. Once upon a time, being alone felt uncomfortable. It felt like silence you had to fill, emptiness you had to escape, a reminder of everything you didn't want to face. You kept yourself busy, distracted, surrounded, not because you wanted company, but because solitude made you confront truths you weren't ready for. But now, something has changed. You begin to discover a different kind of peace in your own presence, a peace that doesn't come from noise, people, or activity, but from being connected to yourself. Silence feels grounding. Stillness feels safe. Your own company feels enough. You start enjoying quiet mornings with your thoughts, slow moments without the pressure to be productive, walks where you hear your own breathing, nights where your mind isn't begging for distraction. You stop chasing temporary companionship just to avoid temporary discomfort. You stop letting fear guide your decisions. You stop trying to fill the emptiness with anything other than honesty. Because the truth is, you're not alone. You're with yourself. And for the first time, that feels like a good place to be. This doesn't mean you push people away or isolate yourself. It simply means you've learned how to be whole on your own. You don't depend on others to soothe your soul, validate your worth, or quiet your thoughts. You've built an inner world where you feel at home. And once you reach that point, once solitude feels natural, expansive, even comforting, you realize something profound. You are no longer searching for yourself in other people. You've finally found the part of you that was missing, inside you all along. That's when you know you're evolving. That's when you know you're becoming who you were meant to be. The seventh sign is you're letting go of past versions of yourself. Growth often asks for release, and the truth is, you can't step fully into who you're meant to be while clinging to old versions of yourself that no longer fit. You begin noticing it slowly. The habits you outgrew, the beliefs that once protected you but now confine you. The person you were, who made sense in the past but feels foreign now. You stop forcing yourself back into old roles. You stop apologizing for changes that others might not understand. You stop holding on to identities, labels, or expectations that no longer align with your soul. It's not about forgetting the past. It's about freeing yourself from it. It's about saying, I am no longer who I was. The old me served a purpose, but that chapter is closed. I am evolving, and I will not apologize for it. This is a gentle but profound shift. It can feel bittersweet at first, because letting go often involves grief. Grief for the comfort of familiarity, for the certainty of old patterns, for a version of yourself that felt safe. But as you let go, something remarkable happens. You feel lighter, freer, more spacious inside. You can move forward without dragging the weight of old expectations. The truth is, this letting go isn't a loss. It's liberation. It's clearing space for the person you were always meant to become. The person who is aligned, authentic, grounded, and ready to live with intention. And the more you let go, the more you realize, the old you was never the real you. It was preparation. And now, you're ready for what's next. The 8th sign is, you notice patterns you never saw before. This is where awareness deepens, quietly but unmistakably. You start observing your life with new eyes, not just the events, but your reactions, your choices, your habits. You notice the patterns that have shaped you. Recurring conflicts, old fears that always surface at the same moments, emotions that seem to follow a script, behaviors that no longer serve you. And instead of judging yourself for them, you simply see them. You understand them. You recognize where they came from, why they exist, and how they've influenced your life. This is a moment of clarity. A moment when your past, present, and future feel connected. You begin to realize that nothing in your life is random, that every repeated lesson, every heartbreak, every joy was quietly guiding you toward growth. You notice your own triggers, your own defenses, your own blind spots. You understand the choices you keep making, and you start to make new ones, not out of force, but from awareness. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to finally step outside the cycles that once controlled you. You can respond instead of react. You can choose instead of default. You can move forward instead of repeating the past. The more patterns you notice, the more freedom you gain, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand your path. And this understanding, this self-awareness, is a key sign that you're no longer just living life. You're evolving. You're finally becoming the person you were meant to be. The 9th sign is, you feel drawn toward what aligns with your purpose. This is the stage where life stops feeling random. You no longer chase everything that seems appealing on the surface. Instead, you feel a gentle pull. A quiet, persistent tug toward things that feel meaningful, nourishing, and true. It could be a new interest, a creative pursuit, a relationship, or even a small change in your daily routine. Whatever it is, it resonates deeply with your soul. You're no longer doing things because you should, or because others expect it, or because it looks impressive. You're doing them because they feel right. You notice the work that energizes you instead of draining you, the people who support growth rather than maintain stagnation, the experiences that teach you rather than distract you. This alignment feels magnetic. You're no longer being pushed, you're being pulled by life itself. And the pull is subtle, almost invisible, but unmistakable once you begin paying attention. It's as if your inner compass has finally been calibrated, and every choice you make begins pointing toward your higher self. This is the 9th sign because it shows you're moving beyond survival and comfort. You're no longer drifting aimlessly. You're being guided toward the life that actually belongs to you, toward work, people, and experiences that honor your essence. And the most beautiful part? It doesn't feel like effort. It feels like recognition. You're not forcing your path. You're simply following the quiet current of your own becoming. When you feel this pull, you know. You're not just changing. You're evolving. You're finally stepping into alignment with the person you were meant to be. But what if none of these signs are in you? Yet. Maybe as you watch these signs, you feel a flicker of doubt creeping in. What if none of this is happening for me? What if I'm still stuck? What if I'll never get there? Take a deep breath. You are not alone, and this is not a failure. It's simply the reality of personal growth. Growth doesn't follow a timeline. Transformation isn't a straight path. Sometimes it's slow, subtle, and almost invisible. Some people notice the signs immediately, while for others they take months or even years to appear examples you might relate to. You've tried self-improvement books, meditation, or reflection exercises, but the changes feel superficial. You notice old patterns repeating, and it feels like no matter what you do, you're stuck in the same cycle. You want to trust yourself or set boundaries, but fear, guilt, or self-doubt always holds you back. You see others waking up or changing faster than you and feel frustrated or behind. Here's the truth. None of that means you're failing. It simply means your inner work is still preparing the ground. Even stillness, hesitation, or resistance is part of the process. Sometimes growth happens under the surface, in ways you can't see yet, quietly shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the signs to arrive. Practical steps and solutions to help you start noticing your own shift. Start small and pay attention. Notice one moment each day where you feel a subtle pull or discomfort. Journal these moments to see patterns over time. Set micro boundaries. Say no to one thing this week that drains you. Protect even a small portion of your time or energy. Notice how that choice feels. Practice self-reflection. Spend 5 to 10 minutes a day checking in with yourself. What am I feeling? What do I need? Over time, this builds self-awareness, the foundation for all the signs to appear. Embrace curiosity over judgment. Instead of criticizing yourself for not seeing the signs, ask, what is my soul trying to teach me right now? Curiosity creates space for insight and growth. Engage in small alignment practices. Take a short walk in nature, meditate, create, or simply breathe. Each act, no matter how small, helps align you with your evolving self. Be patient with your own timing. Just because the signs haven't appeared doesn't mean they won't. Transformation often comes after long periods of preparation, sometimes quietly, sometimes unexpectedly. Remember, your evolution is happening, even if you cannot yet see it. Even when the signs aren't clear, every choice, reflection, and effort toward self-awareness is laying the foundation for them. When the signs finally appear, maybe one day soon, maybe months later, you will recognize them immediately. And in that moment, you'll realize that everything you've been experiencing, everything you've been learning, and every small step you've taken has been guiding you exactly where you need to be.